We are knocking out Group 4 Capstone Project. Got the steps and procedure here set up. What we're doing is aiming to learn more about Atomic Red Team and Splunk. The purpose of this is to simulate an Atomic Red Team attack using two of the meter TTPs, or techniques and procedures, specifically the info dump and the privilege escalation TTPs. So we're going to use Kali to remotely execute the Atomic Red Team via PowerShell. This is going to be the target Windows machine. This will be our Kali machine. Going to double check. Our IP here is going to be a little different than what's listed throughout our process because I just reset the entire VM to redo it fresh, but that's okay. We'll figure it out as we go. That's something that my teammates will have to do as well, and if you're following along someone outside of the class, you'll have to keep that in mind. Also, you're not going to have this listed here probably, but you could go into command prompt and type the command ipconfig to get your IP address. That being said, let's get started. We've got step 1 complete. We've got our virtual machines spun up. Now we need to add our fstack user, that's the current user, to a couple of the groups that have admin access. Primarily we want to add it to the local administrators, which will be under local groups, then groups, and then administrators. Best practice, probably if you're in a real environment, setting up permissions and performing admin work, you would add someone who needs remote access purely to the remote management users group, because that's going to have less privilege than the admin group. So this really probably has blanket privileges of all of this too, but I'm just going to add it to both to be redundant. So we need to go into, now that we're in computer management, local users and groups, administrators, open that up. Looks like we are already in. So I did reset the VM. I'm surprised to see that there. Let's check remote management. So we're not in that one, but I'll show you how to add it here. I clicked the add button. I'll type in our current user's name, click check names. It'll underline itself with the desktop and then a backslash fstack, and that's the host name here, backslash fstack being the username. Hit OK, hit apply, hit OK, and you're good to go there. So now let's just pretend for this simulation that either one, we've already gained privilege escalation to the point where we can add a new admin user, or that someone at the office left their admin computer unlocked as they stepped away from lunch, so we are adding in basically backdoor access to the system that we can take advantage of remotely later on. So now that we've got step 2 completed, we need to further weaken the system so that we can perform this attack simulation. We're going to go ahead and jump into Windows Security, which contains the firewall, the virus protection, etc. So we'll get that opened up. First, we'll disable firewall. So we'll hop into firewall and network, domain network, private network, public network. We're going to be accessing it via the private IP address, so I think that we would just need to maybe disable this one, but I'm going to go ahead and knock them all out. If I was in a real world situation as a black hat, I would probably find out exactly which one I need to disable in order to create less of a footprint. But for now, we'll just turn everything off. So that's all turned off. Domain turned off. Public network, let's turn that off. And I'm just clicking in it, hitting the toggle, and saying yes, I want to make changes to the device. So we've got all the firewall stuff disabled. Let's go ahead and go back and make sure virus is disabled as well. This stuff here would block the atomic red attacks, atomic red team attacks, if they were turned on, the real-time protection. I think that's the only one we need to turn off there. Let's go ahead and turn off tamper protection as well. And let's see, tamper protection, because I believe that the privilege escalation might be stopped. The privilege escalation TTP that we're going to execute might be stopped by tamper protection. That's just off the top of my head, but we'll just disable it anyway. These two, you know what, let's just kill everything. I don't think these two are necessary, but let's kill everything. So everything's turned off. Windows is now in a weakened state. And now we need to set up atomic red team. So let's hop into PowerShell. I'm going to open it up as administrator by right-clicking here, running as administrator, giving myself permission to do so. If it pops up, yes. Since we are administrator, we are able to do that. So now we've got PowerShell opened up. And let's go ahead and just start copying and pasting. So we need to set our execution policy. If I remember correctly, this is going to enable us to actually remotely execute, but let me just double check it. And in the meantime, I'll add this to the clipboard and paste it and try to paste it again. Copy, clipboard synced, paste. There we go. All right. Remote signed. This is one of the available execution policies in PowerShell. When you set the execution policy to remote signed, you are able to execute scripts on your local computer without a digital signature. Configuration files like PowerShell profiles don't need to be signed. So it sounds like this, if I remember correctly, is to adjust policies for the current user, which is FStack, to enable script execution and PowerShell execution without any signing. So let's go ahead and hit enter on that. Yes to all. Now we need to make sure Atomic Red Team is installed along with its dependencies. Let's go ahead and paste a clipboard. See if it worked that time. Yes. See if we get any blockers here. Anything that I missed that I need to adjust in the runbook. Otherwise, this should take a moment to install. So I'll go ahead and pause this while we wait. Actually, here, let's just keep moving as long as it's active. No, I don't want to protect my cherished stuff right now. This is a work computer. PowerShell, I'm just going to read it because I usually don't read it thoroughly enough. PowerShell needs NuGet, so there's another dependency required. Must be available there, or blah blah blah. You can install NuGet. So we'll see if we need to do that. It doesn't look like it because it's going to automatically set it up for us right now once we hit yes. So not technically automatically, but it was prepped to knock itself out. So we'll wait on that, hit pause while it goes through, and if there's any errors, I'll come back, clear them up. Hey, untrusted repo. It's talking about if you trust this, then run set ps repository commandlet. Are you sure you want to install the modules from PS Gallery? Yes. Here, let's just hit all. A for all. All right, now it's going. We'll pause it, come back when it's ready. Ready to go. Everything installed, no errors yet. So that's a win. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Next thing we need to do is grab the Atomic Red Team folder from the GitHub. I believe I did this because it needed the most updated one, or wasn't able to pull the repository automatically from the library. So we'll do it manually here. Let's try it again. Okay, so we are first grabbing the file, and then after that command completes, the next command is install Atomic's folder. That command should live in there, so let's see if that works without any extra pathing. Hit enter. And it was pretty quick last time, so I'll just wait here. The next step is going to be importing the module. And I believe that's, I would need to double check, but that's probably adding the module to path so that we can then, instead of adding a path before this command, we just knock it out like that. And then once we're done with that, you know what, let's hop over to step 5 and get this started, because it's going to take a bit. And what I'm going to do is change those to be semicolons so it all runs one after another. Oh, that's done. Look at that. All right, so we knocked out the pull from the GitHub. Now we're going to import module. But we turned everything off. It's detecting it, but it's not blocking it. So import module, press enter. Let's see if it works. No news is good news, so that should have worked. Let's try running a hash dump or an info dump. Invoke atomic test T1003.001. No other arguments required. Let's see if it goes. Looks like she's running through each test, not necessarily passing them, but running through each test, so we are successfully executing the info dump. So there it looks like we got some information, potentially. Nah, maybe not. Looks like a bunch of errors, but it did complete. I'm going to, the module default execution logger could not be completed. So let's go ahead and, since that basically popped up every time, let's run that, and I'll add that to the run book. So import module default execution logger. Module not found. I want to see if it's inside the atomic red or if it lives somewhere else. I'll look at that in a moment. We might need to adjust this step, or adjust, probably throw it in before this one. But let's go ahead and knock out a bit of exploration. let's, I think we can do ls here, but we'll just do dir. So cd 2.3.0, ls also works. And what we would want to look at is either it's one of the 4 files saying install or invoke. I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it into Gemini real quick. See what it says. Double check that you've typed the name properly. Let's go ahead and try, now that we're in the directory, let's try it again. Pressing up until I get to the import. Just see if that works here. Nope. Not found in any module directory. Whoops, that's nice. Get module, list available. Lovely, all right. So we'll try this out. It's recommending to just take a look at what's on here. Maximize this. I expect it to be a big list. And let's see what we've got. We're looking for default execution logger. I don't see it here. Search online for the module. Let's just see if it's in the PowerShell gallery library. Let's see if I can just paste it in. Awesome. Install module. Try get PS repository. Let's copy that sucker. So we're basically working down the errors using Gemini. This is a good use case for Gemini. You're not exactly giving yourself the full steps, but you're walking through the steps and troubleshooting as needed. So how to proceed. Confirms that PowerShell Gallery does not contain the module, not a standard or publicly available module. Is default execution logger part of Atomic Red Team? Trying to find out where it is since I haven't prompted it enough. Not a standard module that comes with that. Let's take a look. Where can I get default execution logger? This might be unnecessary, but I want to see some successes in the Atomic Red Team. So I'll just pull this up real quick. By default, details are written here. So basically this is looking like what is a default execution logger. Logging mechanism. So it's purely a logging mechanism. And when we go through this, we did run it correctly. Just didn't seem to have found anything. Access denied. Boy, what a mess. There we go. Let's check this out. And we'll see if that so it looks like we just need to add that argument. I'm going to try it one more time. Oh my goodness. Why does it give you that all that extra space for no reason? Alright, let's try the invoke again, but add use basic parsing. Use basic parsing. I'm also just going to say verbose and run that. Doesn't seem to like it. Parameter can't be found. Okay. So I'm going to look up where I can find the parameters and commands of the atomic red team I installed using PowerShell. Get help, invoke atomic test, full. Yes. So we're getting the commandlet for help ready to go. I'll pause it while that's installing. Okay, we're back. Looks like it installed. Let's maximize this. Just looking through to see if there's a basic parsing argument. Inputs, doesn't look like it. But this is what we have available. We could make it interactive. That might give us more ability to control things as each test runs. Cleanup might be a good idea if we were actually black hatting. I'd have to look to see exactly what that cleans up. But, so if I really wanted to get into this, I might do check prereqs, get prereqs, and interactive, potentially force. But for now, we were able to run the test. Let's just move forward on that. See if clear works. No. Yes? Yes. Okay, so clear worked. Let's move over to our Kali side, the attacker side. So this would be, you know, we got everything set up so that we could run atomic red team attacks successfully here on the Windows side. We should be able to now remotely access the Windows side through PowerShell, through Kali terminal. So we'll wait for that to open up. And I'm going to run a couple of upgrades. and updates so that we don't miss anything. I'll add semicolons instead of doing each separately. Whoops. Upgrade, then update, then apt install gss ntlmssp, and let's double check what that is in a moment. apt get upgrade, apt update, and install. So let's just run that and see if it works. While I'm doing that, I'll look up this to just double check on what it is. What is this package? NTLM security support provider, standard way for applications to perform authentication and secure communication without needing to know the details of the underlying security mechanism. Basically might lubricate the process a little bit for us. Authenticate to Windows services that require NTLM authentication. So basically, yeah, we're setting ourselves up for an easier attack on this side. And while this is installing, you may need to hit yes a couple times, so keep an eye on it. I'm going to go ahead and pause it while we do that, wait till it's all completed. Alright, we're back. It looks like one thing we missed was that this last command probably needs a sudo to escalate to root privilege. So I'm going to go ahead and just set it up like that and run it again. There we go. So we did update already. We're going to try one more just to see if we got everything. Alright, we did the best we could there. It should be all set up. Let's go ahead and clear this. The next thing we're going to do is get two tabs ready. One's going to be for a Wireshark traffic recorder. And in the meantime, I'm going to grab this IP address. The 172, that's our network range for the Windows system. Wireshark's getting set up. What we want to do is ultimately at the end of this we're going to have some output to analyze as red team or as the black hat, which would be the info dump. And then I want to record some internet traffic so that we could also use Splunk to analyze the traffic of the attack as blue team. So we'll choose ETH0, that's the interface for the Kali machine and all of its traffic involved in the VM and the different EC2 AWS VMs. So we'll double click that. I'm going to try to put in IP.address here, see if it reduces the amount of traffic, see if it likes it. Doesn't seem to like it there. So we'll go ahead and just double click this. It's going to start automatically and we can filter it after the fact for the IP address before we save the PCAP file. So now let's go to our other tab. Let's maximize this because it's going to be a lot of text. We should just be able to copy and paste this along with changing some of the data. I'm going to use Notepad to update this. I want to make sure that the desktop is the same. 612 MI1, 612 MI1. Yeah, the desktop's the same, but we do need to go through and update a few things. The username is correct, the password's correct. This IP address here needs to be changed to the one that I grabbed just a moment ago from the Windows side. So now we've got it. Let's double check it. That looks correct. This is key here to get us in without any issues. And let's see. The last thing we're doing once that all executes is it's going to output everything that happens to .log. That would be something to review as red team, and then it's just going to say test complete after the output is completed. So let's go ahead and grab this, copy it. I'm just going to do this. Sometimes it works by pasting it, sometimes it doesn't. Paste selection. I did Control-Shift-V and that worked. Let's just go ahead and run it. And wait. So it went through probably, but it went so fast I'm guessing there's an error. So let's take a look. Failed connecting to server 172.37.48. Let's see if we missed anything. I seem to recall that previously I had to do a winrm command in PowerShell. So I'm going to look up that error real quick, try to troubleshoot it on the fly. Yeah, looks like we need to configure a listener on the Windows side. So I'm going to add that to right here. Set up listener in PowerShell. So we're in Administrator PowerShell, paste that in. No news is good news, I hope. Client can't connect. Client cannot connect. Verify that this service is running. Consult the logs. Error number, cannot connect. Consult the logs, blah de blah de blah. Let's just go ahead and copy this and troubleshoot this as well. Unable to communicate with WM Windows Remote. So as it suggests, we'll go ahead and run winrm quick config and hit yes. Change the network connection type to domain or private and try again. See if there's a command we can just grab. To change the domain Windows I, PowerShell, I'm going to see, looks like we can set connection profile interface alias. I want to see if that interface alias is ETH0. Reconnect that. Network interface name on the Windows 10 machine. So we'll do get net. Thank you. First we're going to see what the interface is. Get net connection profile. Ethernet 2. So we'll go ahead and copy that. Grab interface alias, i.e. Ethernet 2. And then next we need to set up, I'm going to try network category to private instead of setting it to domain. Well, the machine is domain joined, I believe. Let's double check. Well, it's got domain controller, right? So it must be. Let's go to network. Settings. Network and internet. Ethernet 2 connected. Properties. I guess we could just do it here, right? Just double check firewall and security settings. Yes. Should all be turned off still. Yep. IP assignment. Let's just roll with it. Let's try, so I just changed it to private. Let's run this again. Now it's marked as private. So go ahead and, I did the manual version, but we'll paste in this. That should accomplish the same thing. So now that's good to go. Do I need to restart Windows machine after changing network Ethernet alias to private? I don't think so. You don't need to change it. Do I need, after changing admin permissions or group or policies? Generally, no immediate restart required. We could do a GP update force. That might be a good idea after this. So I'm going to check that. Does this require a GP update force to work? No. Okay. All right, let's run this again over here. the whole thing should work. It should overwrite the error. So let's run it again. See if we get some luck. If we wanted to see the output here, we could just delete this part and see it working. But it's taking longer now, so that tells me it's working. We could open up the file to double check that it's writing stuff. But this seems like good news to me right now. So in the meantime, we will format this a bit. For your viewing pleasure. This doesn't need to be, really need to set up a macro or a hotkey for code formatting. It's not as easy as it should be. That's still running. I think that's a good sign, unless it hung. So what we can do is open up the document, open folder, atomic test. Let's take a look at what it says. Looks like it's doing happy things. So I'll wait for it to say test complete, and then we'll have some stuff to analyze as red team. In the meantime, we'll keep formatting this while we wait, and then we'll run the second test as well, which is privilege escalation, which I believe performs something similar to what Metasploit does when you're interpreted in and you migrate a process like Notepad to escalate privileges. It seems to do that because once I run it, then random stuff like Notepad and Calculator starts opening up. So I'd have to double check, but I believe that's what's happening. You know what? Just thinking, I didn't end up doing this stuff. But let's see what the output says. And I might run these two items and then do it again, see if that changes the output at all. But let's see if we got anything useful here. Lots of access denied, stuff unavailable. So it completed the test, but it didn't really grab anything. So what I'm going to do is select all, copy. Gemini allows a lot of stuff to go in. Large token limit, I believe, is the correct term. I ran an atomic red team, but got no info. Any suggestions on success next time? See what it says. Not receiving a module name. PowerShell script is trying to start a process for LSAS but doesn't have the necessary permissions. Can't find certain paths. Can't parse. So run PowerShell as administrator. I used PowerShell in Kali to remotely execute the command. How do I set it as administrator? That might be a big fix there if it changes anything. You can't directly run as an administrator, but you would use explicit credentials, which we did, and the credentials we used are of an administrator, so that should be fine. So that we don't need to change. Examine the YAML file of T1003 to understand the prerequisites, verify the existence and location of external payloads, try running individual test variations. It says address the use basic parsing error, but we tried that and it didn't seem to work. We could potentially set up PyPyCats and .NET, but we did successfully run the test and invoked the atomic red team, so we'll call it a success for that. No, do not save changes, and we'll go ahead and run the next one. Even though it's not fully succeeding, this is still good practice because it would throw up flags for the blue team to review. It will teach us something about black hatting and what to expect going forward. So let's go ahead and update our IP address. Looks like I lost the IP address, so 3137.48. Just copy that, get over to Notepad, paste that in. Try it again. There we go. All right, that's the correct one. We've got arguments. We've got the file being saved properly. We've got the negotiate authentication set up. Might not necessarily need this, but that's okay, we'll keep it. Let's go ahead and copy this. Get ready to run it on this side. Control-Shift-V, double check that it's the correct one. Yep. And let's run it, see how we do. I don't know why it did this, but ignore it, it should run anyway. And then once this is all done, we will stop the Wireshark. We could have done that right after the first test, but stop the Wireshark after this, and we'll have both of the attacks in one Wireshark packet. And I will show you how to convert the PCAP into a CSV so that you can send it to Splunk, or rather upload it to Splunk. I don't think we have the forwarder available on Splunk to do it automatically, but we'll just upload it via Splunk. I think we'll set up a TCP port to do that. So we will wait for that. Should have probably taken some screenshots as I went through. But hey, maybe my team can do that. Wink, wink. All right, so the next thing here after we stop the Wireshark, which is kind of covered here, I'll set up a reminder here. Stop Wireshark capture if you have not already. There we go. Let's take a look at the file. This is looking happy. Nothing seems to be going on over here yet. More paths not existing, which is expected. You're not going to expect all these to hit, but hopefully we get at least one of them. Access denied. So if I was a hacker and I was having this issue, my first thing would be maybe wait until tomorrow until the same fella goes on lunch and leaves his damn laptop open again and unlocked. And then I would run these locally in PowerShell administrator to see if it outputs more data. Then I could either copy and paste all of it onto a USB or something like that. But it is running, so we'll call that a success. And we will continue to wait. In the meantime, we'll use T-Shark, which is the terminal version of Wireshark, to convert the PCAP files to CSV files. And then down here, we need to grab the Splunk IP, which we can actually grab right here in details. Splunk IP's here. And then we'll set a port of our choosing to set up a new local IP. And we'll set the connection to take it from Cali IP address. Not necessary, extra step for extra credit. And then we are sending the data over to Splunk with a output to terminal of all the text and then a netcat over to the Splunk IP address, which you would change the IP address here in that command to what you have here, and then whether or not you have 1 or 2 PCAP files, knock it out once or twice, and then you'll be able to use the search function in Splunk to either sort for TCP or for the particular Windows IP address to start analyzing as blue team. Let's go back over here. Didn't say echo complete, that's sad. So maybe we would do a semicolon here. I wonder if it says it in the log. No, that wouldn't make sense, but let's go ahead and open the folder. Take a look all the way down. Done executing test. Bunch of access denieds, but we did successfully run the tests. Black hats aren't always successful, but they still leave a footprint. So I'm going to change the and to a semicolon. Next time I try it, we'll see if that works. Basically, it'll knock out the very first command with this subcommand in it and then hop over to this. It's interesting that it didn't do the and because this did successfully complete, so it should move over to the next one to echo it, but whatever. So now we've done that, we can go ahead and hop into Wireshark, stop this, let's go ahead and filter for the IP address of the Windows machine. In my case, 172.31.37.48. Press enter, wait for it to load. Here's all of the traffic. One thing I want to remember to do is make sure that I'm saving. Yeah, we've changing the date time here. So view, time display, like that. So we've got better timestamps, absolute timestamps rather than relative for easier analysis. In Splunk, go ahead and hit save as. Save this as atomic red team attacks. That's going to save to home Cali. Save. Exit out of here. We're all set with Wireshark. Now we'll go ahead and run our... We just need to do one since we've captured both attacks in the same packet capture. So T-Shark, R, and then I just forgot the name of the damn thing. So ls atomic red team attacks.pcapng. Press tab to autofill it, and then output as atomic red. See, I was just trying to be simple here, but and then .csv. We're in the correct directory, so we don't need to specify any paths. Go ahead and hit enter, and let's remind ourselves to escalate privileges on this. Try it one more time. T-shat. Good job, terminal. Sudo T-shark. It could be dangerous. I live a life of danger, so now we've got the CSV ready to send over to Splunk. So at this point we have the options of analyzing as red team or black hat the log data of the attacks we ran to iterate and go from there, or set up new attacks, create new vulnerabilities, further set up the target system for success, etc. As blue team, let's get ready to send over the data to Splunk. So let's open up Splunk. Using details is a bit quicker than running nmap to grab the Splunk IP. So let's go to Splunk app, settings, data inputs, go down to TCP, add new, or you can click on it. We'll just follow the instructions explicitly. Green button up here, new local TCP. TCP, not UDP. Not that it really matters. And we're going to, we could set the Kali IP address here. Copy, selection. To just accept from our Kali machine. This, maybe if some other bad actor knew your Splunk IP address, they could, I can't remember what the attack's called, but they know that data ingested costs money, so they could potentially just start using a botnet to send tons of data to your Splunk and run up your bill. So that's maybe one reason why you would add a specific IP address. But now we've got a port set up. We'll hit next. We're expecting structured CSV, so we'll just knock that out. Default field that Splunk assigns to all incoming data, so we would always want to send it as a CSV with this port. Each event receives, let's just hit IP here for fun. Index, we could create a new index here based on what we're going to see in the logs. Be cool if they had a Wireshark option just to auto format it. They might, but let's go ahead and review TCP port on port 6666, restrict to host, source type CSV, submit. So now that's created. You can verify that by going back to settings, data inputs. You'll see here inputs 1 and the info there. We've verified that this information is in for data inputs. Now we can go back to Kali. Let's clear this out. Not that, bud. Not like this. All right, now we want to set up a cat command. Let's go ahead and just ls cat atomic red team.csv, and then we're going to pipe that into a netcat. Now we're going to pipe that into a netcat. V for verbose. We want the double checking that I have the correct IP address. Yep. 723135. Yours is going to be different, just as a reminder. And the port 6666. And then echo transfer complete. I'm going to ignore that and just hit enter. And it might take a while because we are running a lot of data through, but even now we should start to be able to see log files from port 6666 TCP or by. You are breaking my balls, bud. Or by searching for the different IP addresses being used. So while that's running, let's see if we can go back and perform a search. Let's just look up port 6666 for now. So instead of adding data through the app feature, we've manually sent it over. So let's look up TCP equals, see if that works. Let's do how to search Splunk for TCP port 6666 ingestion logs. So let's just hit port 6666. No results found. Let's double check everything here. Sort by all time. Go to verbose. I just TCP'd over a CSV to Splunk on port 6666. How do I find it in search? Let's try searching by source type. That's sad. Wonder if this hung. Let's try running it again. Double check everything. 313533, 313533. 6666 is the port. Let's run it again. One thing we could do at this point too is track the Wireshark to see where it's going wrong. We could potentially use a trace route to see what's happening. But I would prefer to see it shown up here, you know? How to check Splunk app is receiving TCP data via port 6666. I sent a CSV over via netcat from my Kali machine. Let's double check one other thing too. I'm wondering if I might have put in the wrong explicit source 32232. No, that's correct. Source type CSV. Next thing we might try is opening up to not do CSV. Let's hop in here and do it now. Just double check, it should be sending. Well, it's outputting to console. Would this transfer over as CSV question mark? If it's going over as plain text, what do I set the source type of Splunk data input TCP to be? Question mark. So it's just plain text CSV data. So one thing we could do is edit the header of the CSV file to have the correct CSV formatting, but we're skipping that for now. Let's go to search and see if it's doing anything. Could also open up Wireshark. Source TCP 6666. There it is. All right. So we'll copy that. And just go ahead and put Splunk search. You could extract fields to further organize this. Click the first item, they're all the same. Go ahead and hit next, choose delimiter. We're going to go for spaces as that's the delimiter here. It's going to mess up and grab these little arrows, but that's okay. Maybe the important things we'd want to really label are the source and destination IPs, the file size, ports, space, my bad. There we go. So this looks like log numbers. I would like to see date time here, but I'm not seeing it. Oh, maybe 4904. Is that the time? It should have brought over the timestamp, but that's okay. Basically, we've got the Wireshark logs, we've got TCP, handshake flags. So that's a start. You can analyze that. If a blue team saw this, they might consider, if there was an attack, blocking the attacker IP as a start. They might consider, depending on the amount of traffic, start throttling data transfer from IPs to avoid mass attacks like this, Cloudflare, making sure the firewalls are on, etc. The red team side, I don't know if we got any useful data out of it, but we will still learn from the data that we review how to further create vulnerabilities in the Windows machine for a successful attack next time. So we'll call it there. And to my teammates, hopefully this all made sense. Hopefully you were able to follow along without too much issue. Feel free to add screenshots to our document here. Otherwise, let me know if you have questions. Use all this responsibly. Hope you learned something good. Bye.